Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another episode of the Bright Now podcast. Let me just start off by saying the Suns fucking burnt me. I got the lobster face going on. I actually was in LA doing a little recording for a video, so just a heads up, mind the goddamn lobster face. But anyways, we're recording this on Wednesday, April 24th, 2024, noon Eastern time. I'm your host, Dash, and I don't got no fun little gimmick to start us off, TJ. I mean, I'm kind of just depressed. This is we kind of just took it bad. Just took it really, really bad. In terms of that game versus the Timberwolves. Game two, lose 105-93. Just spitball at me here, sir. What are you thinking? What are some emotions, some thoughts, some feelings?
Let's just break down the 2024 NBA draft at this point. That's where I'm at with this season. Let's see who we can get at pick 22. Looks like that. I think that's where we're falling in at. Maybe we can get a difference maker for next season's team. Somebody that's cheap that can actually we can actually afford to have on this roster that we pay three guys $120 million to score 42 combined points in a playoff game. No, you're 100% right. It was this Suns team is exactly who we thought they were. I guess is the biggest thing. So it's to be Suns fans that are surprised by these outings. You just probably haven't watched enough games this year, or you just kind of delusional, always believe in your team kind of fan, which is fine. Those people are plenty happy. They're probably far happier than me than I am the majority of the season. But when you get the Timberwolves gave us a gift with Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards combining for. Let me just make sure my numbers are right. Those two combining for, is this the right game? Yeah. 3 for 12 shooting from Ant and 3 for 7 from Karl Anthony Towns. You get their two best players to score 12 and 15 points, mostly because of the free throw line, and we just give it away to them. I mean, in the first half, we finish up 1, and the biggest problem, it just did not feel like we should have been up 1. We did not play. I didn't think we played a good first half. I know you kind of disagreed with me on that, but for Karl Anthony Towns to miss effectively the entire second quarter, Ant had 5 points at the half, and to only be up 1 at that point is it's very scary. And then we saw exactly what unfolded in that third quarter and then the fourth, where not a total blowout because it still is the playoffs. Guys are going hard, but we effectively got our asses kicked in the second half.
Yeah, like I said, the only reason why I kind of disagree is because some of the things that we've hit on throughout the year, our turnovers weren't as bad in that first half. We shot most of our threes in that first half as well. I mean, TJ, everything that we've talked about this year that's wrong with the squad has happened, and you talked about it, facing the consequences of your actions. I mean, it's not surprising. I mean, at the end of the day, we shoot the same from the field as a whole, 44.9%, both teams. But you look at it, the three-point shooting, as we've talked about, when we shoot at least 33s, we usually win our games. We go 8 for 22 from the three-point line. That alone
just
is
not
just,
enough.
what are we
just
doing
not
now?
enough looks. It's just simply
The ball don't
not
stop.
enough.
Ball don't stop camp is definitely just, I mean, they're exposed here. They're exposed. And then the other thing that I've harped on the most, and I think you've harped on it equally amount, but the turnovers, 20-14. We had 20 turnovers that game. And it's just, we don't know how to run a simple dribble handoff. It seems like a lot of these times we're dribbling the ball off our foot. I mean, we see Bradley Beal come down multiple times that game, coming down the left side and just absolutely lose the ball.
Slippy. He should have got called for a travel on one of those drives in the first half, I think. And specifically with the turnovers, it's less about even the total number of turnovers, the 20-14. Obviously that sucks, but it's to allow 31 points off of those turnovers and to only score 2. So we aren't capitalizing when we get them, and effectively once we hand the ball to them, we're just opening sideways for them to just score every time. It felt like. I mean, Jaden McDaniels played a hell of a game, and you keep seeing the quote is flying around all over the place of Ant being like, "Hey, they got Kevin Durant, well we got Jaden McDaniels," and everyone kind of took it as a tongue-in-cheek thing in the moment. But through 2 games, it's hard to say that Jaden McDaniels has not been better than
really
KD and Booker and Beal for that matter.
Just like the personal level.
It's been bad.
We see Jaden McDaniels talking shit to Devin Booker, saying "you ain't shit" over and over to him, and it's just just letting it happen. I mean, there's no sense of fight throughout this team. I mean, I don't know if you saw the clip, but in that first quarter, I think it was 8 minutes into the game, Devin Booker is screaming at his teammates to talk on defense, and it's just, how are we so confused with defensive communication? Game 84, we're confused. How are we confused with defensive matchups? We can't.
Game 84.
I mean, we talked about chemistry.
Game
all year.
84.
I mean, have we not been developing it? I think we played a pretty strong stretch of games with our big three in that last part of the season, and it's just, what are we so confused about? What are we so confused about? Is my question at the end of the day.
Yeah. And then you hear the quotes after the game, and Katie mentions just once it got tough, like the game, they started to take over, and that he said that we just kind of fell apart as a team and didn't come together and kind of unite at that point. We just started the internal bickering. It seems like Beal pisses everybody off. Eubanks played a great game by like his standards for sure, and even then we still see people just get frustrated with anything that he's up to. So it's just, that internal dysfunction is just terrible. Like, we just are not on the same page by any means, and that starts with the head coach and starts with the big three being like supposed to be the leaders of this team.
They're arguing with the refs over and over. Like I said, I never want to be the guy that's like, hey, we got to get rid of the coach, but I don't love Vogel on this team at all, TJ. And I know you don't want to be the guy either. I feel like you feel that more strongly of you don't want to be the guy to get rid of the coach, but I just don't love what I see out here. He's got that, what did you say, the goofy ass look on his face?
No. Yeah, he's just got that same dumb fucking look on his face every time they cut to him on the sideline. Just. Oh, he needs to go bald too, brother. Your hair is thinning, my guy. Your hair is thinning. We see you on camera in 4K every fucking day. You get it under control. But it's just, and they kept hyping up on the broadcast how, Vogel's the defensive mindset that he brings, and they've improved so much on defense. We're finally seeing these things come to fruition. And I'm like, I just don't know what game those guys were watching, because I didn't see very good defensive rotations. Honestly, they probably could have. Rudy Gobert probably had at least 5 times where he's basically wide open under the rim, but because we're not rotating that quickly enough or with enough intention. And the Timberwolves just don't like throwing the ball to Rudy Gobert down there, so we get honestly bailed out by their poor decision making. But we're still just putting ourselves in a position where we can't do anything. Nurkic cannot protect the rim by any stretch of the word, and if they got to the rim, we fouled them. They shot 30 free throws in this game. Like you pointed out how we had the same field goal percentage. At the end of the day, they hit 1 more 3 than us, took 10 more. But they made, 11 more free throws than us. That's the whole game right there, because we can't keep our guys in front at all. There's one possession, I don't know why, in the fourth quarter, we're leaving Eric Gordon on an island with Anthony Edwards on him. And you could literally see Ant realize who's guarding him, pull it back, kind of look around like, is anybody going to come? And then just immediately drive by him. He misses the shot, but it was just, like, why are we leaving that guy on an island?
Yeah, and just to speak on what you were saying about the use of Nurkic not being able to have that rim protection and the miscommunication as a whole on defense, I feel like where it really blew open was when they went on that 11-0 run at the end of the third quarter and to start the fourth quarter. I multiple times throughout that, there's a lot of pick and roll action where there's miscommunication. There's guys rolling straight to the basket and are completely open. I mean, you got Rudy Gobert out here looking like a knockoff Nikola Jokic, giving him easy dime passes when he gets wide open to the rim and could probably just yam it on somebody and just gives it to Karl-Anthony Towns for an easy layup. It was bad basketball as a whole to watch, TJ. And I just don't know where we go from here. Because you've seen this team, the Timberwolves, consistent. I mean, there's a reason why they're in that top 3 seed for a reason. I mean, they played all year, really hard-nosed defense, getting into people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And could have easily been the 1 seed. Could have easily been the 1
sort of
seed
consistency
if a couple things break different.
Lack throughout the year,
no, keep going.
Is coming to life. And I don't know necessarily what the adjustments are, TJ. Like I said, you just ask people to hit more shots. You asked Devin Booker to get more than 20 points in this game. I mean, I think I fucked a lot of people over because I had some people asking me about betting during this game, and they're like, "What are some sure ahead bets that you got?" And I thought Devin Booker was going to come out with a vengeance here, TJ. And this man only took 13 shots, finished with 20 points. You're looking at Kevin Durant only finishing with 18 points. Our big three, or our big two, let's go, for Devin Booker and KD, finished with a minus 24 out there on the court. And that's just, I mean, you're not going to win any games that way. Let's just go ahead and throw in Isaiah Thomas at that point.
Like, what? No, really. And why is Bradley Beal shooting the most shots, too? It literally seemed he tried to get in it. He got baited into a dick swinging contest with Anthony Edwards. Because guess what? Anthony Edwards knows from Chris Finch and their scouting department, hey, if we can get Beal to take the most shots on this team, we're going to be in a great position. So if you can goad him any which way you can into thinking that, oh, this is my game, I'm taking over, that's how the Timberwolves win. And that's what felt like completely was Beal's mindset throughout the game. 9 shots in the first half. 8 in the second half. He thought that he was just absolutely the guy. He was like, I'm taking this on. They don't remember me and the Washington Wizards back in the day going to the I got playoff experience. I'm that guy. No, you're not, Brad. No, you're not, Brad.
Just the eye test combining them both. What do you think was more detrimental to this loss? Was it the Jaden McDaniels 25 points, or was it the 3 super timely 3 threes that Mike Conley had hit throughout the game? Because it felt like every single time Mike Conley hit the 3, it just completely disrupted any sort of momentum the Phoenix Suns had.
Yeah. Honestly, I would probably give more credit to Mike Conley there in terms of steadying the ship when obviously Ant and Cat just weren't scoring at a super high level. He really was just like a steadying hand, and it shows why having a point guard is really important for just these situations. Like if we had Mike Conley instead of Bradley Beal, we'd probably be a higher seed, period, and wouldn't be kind of in the same situation because you'd have somebody that knows how to get people involved.
So let's talk about
and knows when it's time for him to hit the big shot and is comfortable enough to knock it down.
I think it's a Simmons quote, but I mean the last 70 years a point guard has worked on a team. I don't see why it wouldn't work now. Where do we go from here? Looking a little bit ahead in the future. I mean, there's not a ton of point guards available. Last night, I was at the airport just looking through to see what on earth could we possibly scrape up. And I mean, the only person I could think of is like if the Bulls buy out Lonzo Ball's contract. I mean, we could get him, and then we're just banking on another guy who's had an atrocious injury history. Same thing as Beal. Same thing. You can almost say Kevin Durant as well. I mean, he's had a very healthy season this year, but I mean, it's just looking like we're gonna have to bank on something that it's scary. Like this is a big gamble if we want to go for somebody like that.
Yeah, and we've run through these names before, but like if you just look at the point guard free agents this year, like in terms of unrestricted guys, you have Kyle Lowry, D'Angelo Russell, Markelle Fultz, Tyus Jones. Which Tyus Jones is probably going to get paid a lot of money by somebody. That's probably like the Spurs are probably going to try to bag him up. There's just nobody else that you can really think of. I don't know why they have Gary Payton II listed as a point guard here either. But that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, there's just the guys aren't there to actually add to this team to make some type of improvement.
An immediate impact. I mean, this is known as a weaker draft class, so I assume anybody that we get is going to be a work in progress.
No,
I just, like I said, I don't see it. Are we gonna get dude from Purdue, the one white boy, the 26-year-old guy? What's his name? You know what I'm talking about? I was saying.
I don't even know. I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name right now. There's nothing out there. There's nothing out there, especially without without any draft capital, without any cap space. No real assets to trade to like get a haul back, unless you actually are going to talk about trading like Devin Booker, which is just that's just completely throwing away any chance of still being competitive, honestly. Because you can't. Beal's not going to be able to. Who in their right mind would trade for Bradley Beal?
I mean,
not even the worst teams
in
the league.
The only route that we could.
You're just paying him way too much money.
It would be like a KD to OKC type of ordeal, but I don't even know what point guard that they could provide for us. I mean, like, what are they going to throw Isaiah Joe in there and some picks? Like, We would end up with Josh Giddey.
We're
Fuck.
gonna get no. We would end
Oh
up with Josh
man.
Giddey. Like, and Beal is under contract until, so he has a player option in 26-27. He's on the books for the next season for $50 million and the next season for $53 million. So I actually undersold it. My mistake. Next season we will be paying $150 million for those three guys.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah, I don't know, TJ.
$150 million to lose in the first round.
Are we cooked? Are we cooked? Is there any what do we do? What do we do in this specific playoff series to at least advance to go to Denver and get our asses whooped by Nikola Jokic?
We're cooked. Fucking. The problem is it's such I don't have any like clever solution. There's no like gimmicky matchup that you can try to exploit here. Maybe if you try to just go small more. I don't think we ever really had any minutes with KD at the 5, which is just when they have Naz Reid and Gobert or whatever mix of bigs. Which in the regular season we had effectively run off the floor, but in these matchups it just hasn't been the case. So that's like the one gimmicky thing that jumps into mind for spurts to maybe go on a run in the fourth or something. But other than that, it's just do the opposite of what we're doing now, right? It's just, hey, we're turned over the ball a bunch. Let's not do that. Hey, we're not keeping our guy in front. Let's do that. It's those really just basketball team fundamentals that we are just completely lacking. And a lot of it is because, how many guys on this team, on this roster were here last year? Is it literally it's just Okogie and Booker, right? And KD, I guess, if you want to count that, the 4 months, whatever, he was with us. They're just completely no continuity, and that doesn't change.
Do you want to talk
from game 2
anything more
to
about
game
the
3.
series, or can we just look over our predictions and see how they're doing throughout the playoffs so far?
Yeah, let's touch on some other series because I just honestly let's just
done?
get
You want to
swept
get
so
out
I
of your
can be done
misery?
with crying about this. So I can just put me out of my misery. Just put me out of my misery. Yeah, I do not have the heart for this to go to 7 games for us to lose by 35.
But anyway, let's just look over. We'll go through it real quick, guys. We're just going to look over our predictions so far. The Heat and Celtics looks exactly how we thought, right? The Celtics were kind of mollywopping the Heat. Didn't look like they were trying too hard. The Celtics still able to hit a ton of threes. Surprise, surprise. And Tatum was able to take it at the rim whenever he wanted as well. If Tatum's going to keep doing that, I think they're good. Even though he scored with 20 points in that game, I think they'll be straight, right?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. If he's attacking the rim and not just settling for bad jumpers, it makes that just so much more dangerous.
And like I said, I can still see the basketball gods doing their thing and going in 5 for some random reason, but they were pretty confident there still. That Cavaliers Magic one right there, Cavs up 2-0. It looks like the offense that you talked about with the Magic, it looks like it's continuing to grow right there.
Yeah.
And both me and you thought that maybe we could have that little spark defensively, but it looks like Evan Mobley and Jared Allen are actually stepping up to what they're past their standards from last year. So that's a plus there because they played like dog shit last year.
Mm-hmm.
But those guys are playing really effective basketball, shooting the ball really well. No surprises.
Yeah.
Not a ton of surprises there. Looks like the most uninteresting matchup. Everybody keeps saying put it on Peacock, put it on Snapchat, that series, because nobody's watching that shit. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, it's tough. I don't think Magic fans should not be feeling too discouraged by this series so far, especially, as they're heading back home. It could easily just flip right around. We've seen the Cavs play really poorly and really well this season. They've, really hit, probably of all the teams, they probably hit the highest highs and lowest lows, probably with them and the Clippers, right? So it's not out of the question that the Magic could still steal some games and maybe come out with the series, but I think we probably didn't put enough weight on the fact that just Cleveland has the best player in the series in Donovan Mitchell. And I think that's probably the biggest
Yeah, I
difference
think that's a
maker.
good way
And
to put it.
Paolo just isn't
And then we got the
quite
Indiana
ready to
versus,
totally carry an
Milwaukee game.
offense at this
And
age.
we did talk about it. We do have the Pacers winning this series, and this is the first game where it kind of looked like, hey, here we go. Like this is what we expected with a Giannis-less team. With this loss, I could either see Milwaukee bringing back Giannis right here for this game 3 if he feels like he's all the way ready, which I'm sure he's already been feeling like he's ready, just ready to go out there and just dominate. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton finishing with 12 points, 12 assists. Man, still struggling from a scoring aspect is really surprising. I mean, I wonder if that injury still fucking him up, you think?
Yeah. It's got to be just something with like his explosiveness that just isn't like his first step just isn't there like we had seen it before. And what did he end up shooting from threes? 3 for 7 from 3. So shooting the ball like that's 42%, which is good. But when it's 3 for 7, like it just doesn't look great at the end of the day. So yeah, I was definitely more pro Bucks still looking at this series, especially if we're gonna get Giannis for games 3 and on. But I haven't heard anything specific about him suiting up for game 3 yet. And I know we still got a few more days for that when they got a pretty decent sized break. So if he comes back this early, I think they're in the perfect situation like we said. They can split the first 2 games without Giannis, and then he comes back, I think they're fine.
37 points and 11 rebounds and 6 assists, shooting 70. What was it? 75%?
37.
Oh no, 65% from the field, about 70%. Yeah, Pascal Siakam, continue to do your spin move. Maybe you catch yourself another game or 2, especially if Giannis isn't there. You guys might be able to win the series playing like that. And then we're gonna go over to the West, and we're no. I almost forgot the most exciting series, that Knicks versus 76ers. Oh my goodness, man, that was absolutely absurd. We see Dante DiVincenzo with that insane last play of the game. And we'll talk about it with the Lakers series too, TJ. Sick and tired of the bitching about the officiating at the end of the game. Especially from the Lakers and the 76ers. Get the fuck out of here. You guys had by far the most foul calls, especially the Lakers.
I know.
TJ, I'm sure you already knew, but in the last 2 seasons, the Lakers have by far the most fouls in their favor during the season. So much so that if you doubled number 2 place, which is the Miami Heat, if you doubled them, the Lakers would still have more than them by a pretty wide margin. So I'm so sick and tired of them bitching about it. That last call in the Knicks 76ers game, I mean, obviously, I do think that was a foul. That was a grab right there. But at the end of the day, one play doesn't affect the entire game. And there was plenty of opportunities where Maxey came down and turned the ball over. He himself even admitted that one play doesn't change the entire game.
No.
And I'm glad to see that kind of accountability from such a young guard like that. And Embiid's walking a lot. And it's crazy. He can still score 30 points walking, but that man is walking down the court over and over.
No, you're 100% right. And yeah, it is annoying when it's just, it's the refs' fault, and the refs are trying to screw us, and it's a whole conspiracy. It goes all the way to the top. When you are one of the most foul-baiting teams in the league, in the Sixers and in the Lakers. And this happens every year. NBA refs make mistakes. It's a bang-bang play at the end of the game. And I think most refs, and honestly what I appreciate more is just swallowing your whistle when it comes down to those moments and just saying, all right, who's going to come out on top? We're going to just let you play through it, figure it out. Obviously, if something egregious happens, they got to call it. But those fouls weren't so criminal as I think Sixers fans are making it out to be. And the Sixers, they're up, 5 points with 40 seconds left? Like, it is not because of some bullshit foul call at the end. It's because you guys blew a lead.
See any of that Nuggets versus Lakers game, or at least some highlights from it?
Oh definitely. I saw a good chunk of that one. Game 1, I definitely watched all of Game 1, and then Game 2 was a little had seen like the highlights and got that breakdown. And it's another similar situation where the Lakers played good enough to win the game. It's basically exactly like Game 1 of the 2018 Finals with LeBron having that crazy 50-point game, and J.R. Smith just kind of fucks him at the end. And you do good enough to win. You play good enough to win the game by all accounts, and you get it stolen from you. Like, they effectively have to now win. They have to win 5 games to win this series, basically, because the Nuggets, and all credit to the Nuggets for like coming back from such a deficit, and Jamal Murray just knocking down the shot. Like, But if you're the Lakers, there's no way you're feeling good.
Absolutely
Like
not.
I would.
And when I went and
there's
talked
no
to
way that I would think any Lakers
intentionally
fans should
talked
feel
to Clippers
hopeful about the
fans,
rest of this series.
during this last video that I recorded for Dash and Hoop, I talked to a lot of Lakers fans, and they seem pretty confident with the idea that they are losing. So they came to terms with it. It's good to see. Fuck the Lakers. Love LeBron, but fuck the Lakers. I just wanted a specific play that I wanted to pick out of that Nuggets versus Lakers game. I think it was about a minute and 2 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Nuggets down 2. And Nikola Jokic puts on an absolute man move and destroys Anthony Davis. He brings the ball up, gets to that top right wing on the 3, and starts backing down Anthony Davis all the way to the basket and puts him in an absolute spin cycle. One-on-one, no help. Anthony Davis was just talking shit about how he's the best defender in the league. Didn't look like it. Didn't look like it. That's all I'll say. Didn't look like it. Shout out to MPJ for hitting that crazy-ass 3 off of that broken play. That was an absolutely absurd moment in that game.
Look like it.
We're going to go over to the Clippers versus Mavericks right here. Series tied up after last night. Luka Doncic had himself an absolute banger of a game, talking shit throughout the crowd, hitting step-back threes, doing all the Harden stuff that Harden did from a 5-year stretch from, 2017 to 2021, 2022, and just absolutely was murdering him on the step backs, getting him into him physical, drawing fouls on James Harden. There was a lot of James Harden versus Luka matchups, and it was kind of beautiful to see, seeing the passing of the torch of the dickhead ISO player just destroying your team. And it's cool to see that this version of James Harden ball is working in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Really interested in this matchup still. First game with Kawhi Leonard back. He looked pretty decent. There were some points where defensively we're used to seeing Kawhi stay in front of guys where he was getting blown by. But, I mean, at the end of the day, this is still going to be a tough-ass series. And I still got the Mavericks coming out on top.
Yeah, I definitely don't fault you for that. Especially just splitting those first two games is huge for Dallas. You can't expect to win every road game in a playoff series, especially when you're the lower seed. Like, that's just a little ridiculous. And yeah, to be able to squeak this one out with a 3-point win, that's exactly the kind of stuff you need. And it took like, if you just kind of go down the stat line, obviously besides Daniel Gafford leaving with an injury,
Yeah.
like they're at, their starting line, their stat lines are kind of exactly the breakdown you want to see, with Luka 32, Kyrie 23, PJ Washington 18. Like, it's just a really solid breakdown for what they need from these guys. And the Clippers just didn't get enough from PG, Harden, and Kawhi. As good as Harden and PG necessarily played, if Kawhi is going to be hobbling, like, they really need Paul George to be the best player on the team and to really kind of take over in situations and go one-on-one with Luka to try to bring it home. And they just couldn't
the last
get it
game we
done.
got in the series is going to be OKC versus the Pelicans. Very exciting first-round matchup. More exciting than I thought, I think, even with Zion being out. I don't know if there's any reports that Zion is going to return for the series. He might just be out for the season. I'm not informed. But playing big, as we saw. OKC looked a little nervous at points. Chet and Shea looked like, had the jitters, especially at the beginning of the game, but ended up coming out on top. You still pretty confident in this Thunder in 5 or 4 pick?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, game 2, we still got to kind of wait and see what's going to happen there. And Zion is the biggest question mark for the series on both sides. But after watching their game 1 and just how comfortable SGA is, and if they're going to let Chet shoot wide open threes, like, the Thunder have to be happy with it. I don't know what I'm going to look up his percentages right here, because maybe there's a case to be made where it's like, hey, you go beat us at the 3-point line. No, he's 37% from 3, man. And if you're going to give him wide open 3, that's what I thought. Like, he's a really good 3-point shooter. Damn near elite 3-point shooter for his size. And yeah, you can't do that. No matter how bad you want Valanciunas to sit in the paint and drop to try to guard SGA or Jalen Williams.
I think that's going to wrap up this podcast.
Like, that's not the answer. That's not going to get it done.
So, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Concluding thoughts, Suns, holy shit. I hope you guys can figure it out. I don't know why I was falling into that delusional fan there for a second with a matchup what we got against the Timberwolves, but it looks like they're showing us why they're the higher seed and that the regular season does still matter. So, I mean, hey, thankful for that. Still got the Nuggets winning it all this year. Any concluding thoughts for you, TJ?
Yeah. Nah, that does it for me. Heading back home for the series, if the crowd is into it and we can actually get like a real home court advantage, then let's go. We still got a shot. We win these next 2 home games, we're right back to even up the series. But we're gonna have to win if we're gonna win this one, we have to win a road game. Be it like you just literally have to. And I don't know if we have that capability. We haven't shown even these first 2 games basically getting our asses kicked.
Remember, have a phenomenal rest of your day.